recruiter here, the headless headhunter, to review your resumes to get you ahead of your job search. The resume we have up first is for a back-end software engineer. So what we're looking for in a back-end software engineer is Java, Spring, Spring Boot, SQL, RESTful APIs, microservices, OOP, Git, other APIs, Maven, Cloud, Architecting, SDLC, MongoDB, and any of those in the extra credit section. So I did a meter read of this and it failed, but it was barely failed. But this person has been applying actively for the past few months and has gotten 0 interviews. They are applying to Java roles specifically, and they don't understand where they're going wrong. So first off, your resume is not awful. Like, yeah, it didn't work, but it's not the worst, right? Like, I've seen way worse resumes. Your issue may not actually be with the resume. There's a lot of other things that can occur besides just the resume. So the number one thing is, and this might be the case, is you are an international student. I'm going to guess since this was out of the country, and then this is in the United States. So first off, you're going to have to apply to about 3 times as many roles, because even if you are on an OPT, they may not know how to use your visa. So I'm assuming, and again, I could be completely incorrect, I'm going to guess you're on an OPT. They may not know how they can work with that. So what you want to do, and this is one of the very few cases you want a summary. So summaries are not good in resumes. You would put them like above this education and between this, so between these 2 sections. But there are 3 reasons you want a summary, and only 3 reasons. One is you are relocating, because relocating is a red flag. It's like a big yellow flag. So you want to explain that. Number 2 is you are changing industries, and I don't just mean from like Java to Python. I mean from like a software engineer to a medical doctor. Or 3, you need to explain your visa. So they may not, even if a company can work with your visa, they may not know that they can work with your visa. So you need to explain to them, like, you know, and I'm not a lawyer, so this may not be right. Like, you know, as I am on companies do not need to sponsor me because I am on an OPT visa and can work for X or Y, whatever, right? So you're going to have to explain to them. So that's it. That may not just be what's on this. But now let's go to actually this. Wasn't terrible. I yeeted it, but like it was a barely fail. So formatting, this can be into 2 lines, should not be bolded. I want you to make it look like this. Second, this is a bit of an issue too here, is you bolded everything. You don't need to do this. You don't need to bold everything. Bolded everything makes it worse, I swear to you. I actually almost missed some of the qualifications I was looking for because it was bolded. So, developed and maintained RESTful APIs using Java 11 and Spring Boot is great. This is actually a very good sentence. This should not be bolded, though. If you fix the formatting, you're already going to have a much better chance of getting a position. Implemented, this is a nothing sentence and can be deleted. Wrote custom Spring Data GPA. I don't think GPA is needed, but the Spring Data could be. But actually, no, because Spring was needed. Spring Boot here. I would just say Spring queries. But SQL is good. But again, stop bolding it. And I don't care about the latency. So Spring Security. You've already mentioned Spring 3 times. I want to see Spring and Spring Boot once in this position, and that's it. API, whatever, don't care about. So I was missing like microservices. I was missing RESTful APIs, which maybe it's here. No, here it is. Again, it's so hard to find. Stop bolding. This is what happens when you bold. We miss stuff. Maven I am missing. Microservices, OOP, I did see Cloud, although really this should probably be closer up. So this is your big problem with your resume, is you thought that some of this, you thought that Mockito and JUnit 5 were qualifications or keywords. Again, no recruiter calls them keywords. That is something candidates do. We just call them qualifications, but it's not. These are the qualifications. These are the average qualifications for a software Java developer in the United States. So focus on these, fix the formatting, apply early, because again, ATSs sort you in the order you apply. The AI scanning is way overblown. Like really, you're more likely to get rejected by a human because you submitted your application too late than you are for a machine. So apply early, apply with more of these because you're close, you're very close, and fix your formatting along with a quick summary of if you are on a visa, which again, I'm making an assumption, we know how to work with you on because they may not know. They may think that they can't, and that could be a problem. So that's it for this resume. Again, I don't think this was terrible. This was not a garbage forever resume. This just needs a couple of tweaks, but it's not always just the resume. It could be when you apply. It could be immigration issues. It could be a bunch of other stuff. That's what I'm here to teach. So I hope that was helpful. I know it's pretty tough because there's a lot of things going wrong, but that's what I'm here so I can help out. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out. And if you need more help, you can always join my Twitch chat. That's where I go over this stuff live at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. till about 3 to 4 to 5 hours, depending on how long I can go. And let's go to the next resume so I can get you ahead of your, I forgot my own tagline, next resume. This is a resume of a full stack software engineer. So this person is a full stack with 5 years of experience. They recently graduated from UTD. They are targeting SDE1 and SDE2 roles in the Dallas areas. No, they don't. Well, so first off, don't use 1, 2, 3, and 4 anytime you're looking for a job, because one company's SDE, which is software development engineer 1, is equal to another company's 3 engineers. Some juniors are equal to level 2. There's not a standardization of the process, so I would not worry about 1, 2, 3, 4 because it's kind of chaos and there's no standardization. So they are targeting roles in Dallas. Which specific roles would be the best for my background? I don't like, that's not, I don't know if that's something I can decide for you, but how does my resume look from a recruiter's perspective? Awful. And am I positioned well for senior roles? I don't know. I haven't reviewed it. Let's find out. All right. So starting the clock, see if I can't find it in 20 seconds. What we're looking for in full stack is TypeScript, Python, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, Node, Angular, Next.js, MongoDB, SQL, React.js, API REST, Cloud, Agile, CI/CD, cross-functional, and bonus points for architecture, extra language, and Git. Also, this person completely doxed themselves, so I cannot scroll from past this page. So, let's go and start. All right. This doesn't matter. SQL is good. Python, okay. TypeScript, Nest. Yeah, I don't care about Nest. I need JavaScript. I'm aware of what it says, but it's not JavaScript. AWS, I think I saw AI, which I'm not really related to, and pass. AWS is fine. Okay, yeah, this is chaos. So you're formatting. This is why formatting matters, right? This is the prime example of why formatting matters. If I had 3 minutes to comb through this beast, I would probably be able to find what I need. But I don't. I don't have 5 minutes. I don't have 3 minutes. I have 20 seconds. And I barely got past here. And what I found was Python, which was one, SQL, TypeScript, AWS, and that's it. And that's not enough to move you forward. I did not find JavaScript. I'm aware that Nest.js stands for Nest JavaScript. I know what JS stands for, but A, the recruiter might not, and B, the manager may not want that. I need to see actual JavaScript, CSS, and HTML for a full stack role specifically. So please stop bolding everything. Stop bolding everything. I'm gonna go insane. It makes it so much harder to read. I cannot, like, if you want to know why it makes it so much harder to read, I have at this time posted, I think, about 35 of my meter yeets. I want you to go through those, and then after the timer stops, move to the next one, and then move to the next one. Because again, you're doing these, I'm not just doing 30, I'm doing 100 of these in about an hour. Or less, possibly 130 minutes, depending on the role. And this breaks your mind, and then you go back, and then you bounce back, and then, oh, look, we missed everything. So stop doing that. The second is, this is not a focused resume. This is not a full stack resume because they have a bunch of stuff here, But then you also go in here and there's like microservices and Java and Spring Boot. And if I'm looking for Java roles, I would want that. This, as you could tell from the previous qualifications, the back-end Java role would be good. And then you also have stuff like the Hibernate and Redis. I don't care about that. So your resume is not very good. You know, it's just not. It's not the worst, right? Like, again, I don't want to say this is the worst resume ever because it's far and away not, but it's not great. The formatting is so awful and there's so much extra stuff that I don't need that I can't find what I'm looking for in the 15 seconds I have. So that's why this fails. Is, again, if I had 2 to 3 minutes, I think this would be a fine resume, but I don't. We never have that much time unless it's for a very hot market. But if you're in a very hot market, you don't need my help. Like, flat out. You want to know how what a nurse resume looks like? Just says nurse 2023, 2025. And they get hired with that. That's it. That's all they need to do because the market's hot. You are a CPA accountant. You put CPA. You say you used Excel, and even if not, doesn't matter. We're going to move you forward because that's how hot the market is. For a software engineer, though, you're back with what everybody else has, which is 15 seconds. Yeah, 15 to 20. I add an extra 5 because I have to verbalize it out for y'all. So technically, it's really 15. But, you know, recruiters have 15 seconds, but I'm adding 5 for visibility is not a good catchy title. So that's the problem with your resume. It's not focused. It does everything. And if it does everything, it does nothing. Focused, jack of all trades resumes are not what people are looking for unless they specifically mention wear multiple hats, and the amount of roles that do that are very small. So, which companies and roles would be best for my background? I don't know, because that's not how that works. Your resume is tailored to what you want. I cannot tell you what you should want based on your resume. It does not ever work like that. How does it look from a recruiter's perspective? Correct. Bad. I said that before. Am I positioned for senior roles in the U.S. market? This is actually a very good question. And the problem is most people in the U.S. don't count the experience you have had in places outside the U.S. There are exceptions for this, but on most cases, the experience you have before entering the US doesn't matter to them because they can't really confirm it. It's very, very rare. So unless you were working for like a very common US company like Amazon in another country, they probably won't count it. So you really have about 2 years of experience, give or take. I know that's not fair. I'm not saying if that's right. I'm just saying that's the opinion. It's kind of like they'll maybe count this as like a 2 to 3 years of experience. So I think you could probably count. I think you could safely do software engineer level again 2, which I don't think is a good qualification. So basically stuff that is asking for 2+ years of experience, you are safe to apply to. I don't think they're going to move you forward for many 5+ years of experience, but 2+ years of experience, I think you're good for. So to strengthen your profile for the U.S. market, again, do what I tell you to do. Make it look like this, okay? Make it look like this. Make it basic, make it boring, basic, make it easy, and then focus your resume. It looks like you also could maybe be a Java backend. If you need 2 resumes, make 2 resumes. That's fine. So that's all I can do for this one. Let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of I have no idea. So if you're applying to be a software engineer, you need to pick a stack. Are there more than these? Probably, but these are the 5 most common ones. And that's going to be full, front, backend Java, backend Python, backend C# or .NET. So those are basically your 5 choices if you're going to be a software engineer, unless you're doing something very niche like COBOL or I actually don't know what else besides COBOL. But so the problem with this resume is absolutely nobody is responding to it. And because you stated software engineer, and you did not tell me what you are, I'm going to guess the problem is that you are very unfocused. Again, your resume needs to be razor sharp in its focus. It cannot do everything. A resume that can do everything does everything wrong. So let's try to find what I need. In this case, I'm going to try to figure out what you are and then maybe guess if you have the right qualifications for it, because I actually do know tech. This is my specialty. So one of my many specialties. Except cyber. I don't have a ton of experience with cybersecurity, and I'm pretty open with that. So let's go. All right. I don't need to know when you graduated. All right. I just need to know this. Okay. What? Okay, AWS, Django, and WordPress, what? I guess Python. I feel like this is not, I mean, it's kind of a Python dev. Okay, so I'm going to guess this is a full, maybe a Python dev? In which case, the qualifications are going to be in the United States at least, because again, different qualifications are going to change based on your area. So this is what I would be looking for a Python backend software engineer, which again, I don't know if you are. So I did find Python, I did find cloud. I didn't find RESTful APIs. I don't care about Vue. I don't care about Node for Python. No, I don't care about Node. EC2, this is good. So yeah, I wouldn't have enough to move you forward. This is like kind of in between a back-end Python developer and a full-stack developer. And I'm aware that every software engineer right now's hackles are raised because full-stack implies both front and back-end. But typically when companies are hiring, if they are focusing on a full stack, the qualifications are going to be different. So you could tell from the last one, I don't know if they have to redo it or not, but like, you know, the last resume was full stack. Those are the qualifications. There are a lot of similarities, but like as an example, I wouldn't really care as much about, you know, Vue or anything, because again, that's for front end. So if you look at these, there are some slight differences, primarily that being JavaScript, CSS, and HTML, which I don't find. So your resume is chaotic, and I don't know what you want. You could probably apply to 3 different roles, which is full stack, front end, and back end Python dev. If you do that, you need 3 separate resumes. The resume that will get you one will fail to get you the other. So I'm not sure what this person is, but they asked a couple of questions, and I'm here to answer questions. So you've been self-employed for the last 5 years, and you're trying to get back into the job market. No worries. Let's see. I also have a few WordPress websites I run that I grouped under my freelance business. I've applied to over 100 jobs with no interviews, and you get paranoid and end up rewriting your resume every week or 2. So I'm assuming you're not getting anything. So first off, job market's bad. That's going to be expected. We are not in 2021 or before that, and before like 19. No, when was it good? 2016, 17, 18 was pretty good for tech, I think. My memory might be wrong about that. But yeah, we're not there anymore. So first off, we need to focus. You need 3 separate resumes. Second off is this is a bit of a red flag. So if the person reviewing your resume sees that you have your own company, you are probably going to be rejected. It looks really bad. It is a yellow to red flag. I actually want to say it's almost a red flag. Managers do not like that. Now, weirdly enough, once you get to the interview, they don't really care if they find out that you have your own company, because they can ask you deeper questions and figure out the reasons why. But in a resume, your own company is not good. The part of the reason this fails is because you have both of these in your timeline, it implies that you were doing both part-time and maybe not a lot. So what I would do is delete this, or delete this. I mean, this actually has a lot of qualifications, but so this should be deleted because it messes with your timeline. Okay, you have a little bit of a gap. That's fine. 5 months, not a big deal, especially because it was five years ago. Not a huge deal. Gaps are not a big deal. So, but your timeline needs to be accurate. So that is what it is. Okay, so projects is fine. That's okay. So this, I think, can be completely deleted. This is fine keeping. Make sure they don't know that you have your own company, or else it's a bit of a, like I said, red flag. So in that case, the first part you said architected and scaled. This is good. This is bad though. A WooCommerce platform that processed blah 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 over 2 million in revenue. I'm not looking for this. I want to see architected and scaled a website using Python and whatever stack you're going to go for. That's where you put your basically 4 first things in that, and almost every software engineer needs to do that. So I don't know which one that is. In case it's Python, then it's going to be Python, SQL, and Docker or Kubernetes. If in an AWS environment, if it's going to be full stack, then it's going to be TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and in an AWS environment, key, you want to put AWS after that, where we processed customers. Because again, I'm not hiring you based on 2 million in revenue or processing 20K orders, because that's not really what we're looking for. I'm hiring you based on this. So you need to focus your resume, and then once you focus it, then we can talk. In addition, I'm assuming this is an associate's degree. If that is the case, you should probably put it lower. You should actually put this towards the bottom. In addition, you don't need to tell me when you started, only that you did graduate. So I don't need to know when you started. If this is an associate's and not a bachelor's, which I'm making the assumption it is, then put it below. Otherwise, it's in the right place. So again, there's a lot of different rules for this. So that's all I can really do on this one. Let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of someone that got doged on a contract that should not have been. Oof, that is rough. Took a job making that, struggling, so need a new role. All right, so good news is it looked like a system admin roles are pretty. This is the same resume from last time. Okay, this is a system administrator. Let me pull it up real quick. So let me. Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Did you dox yourself? You kind of did. I don't know if that phone number is real or not. So we're gonna this is the resume. So what we're looking for a system admin, which seemed relatively good. I don't want to say like hot market, but not bad. Looked at least lukewarm. Is a lot of stuff, and this is actually one of the few things in tech I haven't really done a ton of, is Windows 10 or 11, Office 365, any of the help desk ticketing systems. So like Jira or Service Desk Plus or whatever it is, I have to know that it's a ticketing system. Type of admin. So this is where it gets a little tricky, is if you're like doing mainly like networks versus phone lines versus Android phones versus a Windows environment versus a Linux environment. So your I don't want to say industry, but it's like the subdivision within the system admin. That's going to change a lot of the qualifications, and I cannot list them all. Any of the cloud certs, Python, Ansible, any ISO. Again, I'm not going to judge that you have a particular ISO because ISO changes based on the industry. Windows, Linux, Mac, OS, infrastructure as code, IAC, and Windows Server, Active Directory, group policy, and DNS, DHCP, and probably troubleshooting and a couple of other stuff. So let's see if you have any of that. This is an already nightmare resume. Okay. So, top clearance. Clearance is good. You should have that. That should be under education. So no one can see this because I don't want to dox this person and scroll down or up too far. But at the very bottom, they say CompTI plus .NET Security and Amazon AWS. That should be at the very top instead of this. And then okay, so your resume needs to look like this. You put your certs and your education here. In this case, your certs go above your education, so it's going to be all those certs, then the AWS cert, and then the education. And then above that, you will in fact say top secret clearance, right? You will have a very quick summary. Normally, I don't like summaries, but they want that, and you just need to say top secret clearance systems administrator. That's all. That's all you need to say with that. That way they know you have the security clearance. They can go with the rest of it. They're going to be very happy. Now, onto the actual bullet points itself. Provided tier 2, 3 support for mission critical workloads. All right. What is tier 2, 3 support? I don't know. Is that better than 1? It's possible the recruiter does not have knowledge of this. They may not know what that is. That might not be impressive. Maybe 1 is better than 2. Maybe, yeah, they have 2 and 3 support. Why don't they have 4 support? So I don't like that first one. Mission critical, I don't like either. Also, this is a nightmare. I'm not really sure what this is. Why is it like that? Did you go back here? If you went back here, this needs to be a separate role. So, like, mainly because there's been a difference of 2 years or so. This timeline is very confusing to me. I think this should be split into 2, one under this one. So Microsoft Azure and AWS is good. Provisioning VM is good. That was a qualification I saw. VPN and VP storage may be good. The rest of this, I don't know. It's too technical. Also, your font is off. It should look like this. This is the reason it looks like this, is because it's easy to read. I don't care how ugly your resume looks. I'm aware this looks hideously ugly. This is oatmeal that's gone wrong ugliness, but I need plain stuff, right? I'm not looking, again, food metaphor, because I don't eat until after my stream. If your stomach's upset, it doesn't matter if someone gives you an amazing piece of sushi and steak. What you want is plain oatmeal. And by reading all of these resumes in a row, your stomach gets very upset, so you need the plain oatmeal, which is this. Keep this formatting, I swear to you. Everybody, but 99% availability is nothing. So, conducted routine and ad hoc security audits. So, this is written in a way that is indecipherable to the layman. And that is partly why you're going to be having issues. Let's see. Yeah, you shouldn't be having 1 in 100 for systems admin with a security clearance unless you don't have the qualification. So something is definitely up with your resume. So you'd see. And then the rest of this, I actually don't see anything that I need. So you have a relatively okay first sentence and a half. You do state security, which is good. And then the rest of this is garbage and doesn't matter. SQL. Am I actually looking for SQL? No, I don't really care too much about SQL. Nothing. ISO? That might be a different ISO. ISO is International Standards of Operation, I think. They basically, ISOs are just like good manufacturing practices, and they're very important in certain industries. I've done a lot of ISO roles specifically for PPG. Nothing. I do like to say for corporate and government, but nothing. Yeah, you're the rest of your resume is practically blank. So remember, this is the stuff I'm looking for. And you might be able to find a different version of this, but go to my website, please. Please go to my website. I am begging you, and read my guide. It will tell you how to find these, and you will be able to do it slightly more accurate than I am. And when you do that, remember that if it's not under a qualification, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you cured world hunger. I wish you would. I hope you do that. But if you're applying for a software engineer role, or in this case, a systems administrator role, and you stated, also, I cured world hunger, A, I probably wouldn't believe you, and B, even if I did, that's not related to being a systems administrator. I don't need your brags. You can brag, but I don't need you to show how good you are. That's for the interview. I need you to show me that you meet the basic minimum qualifications to move forward. I have gotten more accountants and nurses, back when the market was not as hot for both of them, more jobs by putting took blood and triaged for nurses and Excel pivot tables and VLOOKUP than ever before. I had people that were crashing out and could not get anything, and all they did was put the basics on it and they moved forward. That was 10 years ago. It's still the case now. Was it 10 years ago? Maybe 8 years ago. It's still the case now, though. That part hasn't changed. Your resume is a basic minimum qualification document. This is like you going and kicking down a door and saying, I'm the best. I solved world hunger. I fixed administrations. When I'm really just asking you to sign the form and tell me you meet the minimum. So that is why you're getting not as much stuff in a market that doesn't seem too bad. And let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of an embedded intern software engineer. So what we're looking for in an embedded software engineer is Python, C, C++, any of those would be fine. Linux/RTOS, education, MS Office suites, the ability to work well with others and take direction and criticism. That's kind of it for an intern. So interns specifically, or unless it's a master's or PhD level intern is going to have a little bit more. But interns are really, really basic for the requirements, as everybody tries to show how they're amazing. And realistically, we just need to know that you can kind of not cause problems to anybody else, that you know the basic stuff, and that's kind of it. Those are the two things. So let's see if I can't find it for a very quick meter yeet in 20 seconds. All right. Doesn't count here. Collaborated. What does collaborated mean? I do not like that word. Microkernel. Nothing I'm looking there. Linux was fine. Orb Slam. It's not Space Jam. Oh, there's Python. I actually almost missed it. Obstacles free course. Curving technique. Yeah, there's no. This would definitely fail for the meter yeet. I do think this is a relatively more niche type of... still very tired. It is a niche job, so their competition is less. That's probably why they have 1 out of 75. But this would probably be a yeet for me. Partly because this is way too confusing, and it's possible they may have missed this stuff. The other is I don't really see how you worked well with others that much. Yeah, so here's what I would change, right? So first off, formatting. Change the formatting. This person is in chat right now, so they know the formatting. I could work with them, but boring is best. Skill section doesn't need to be here. And then instead of collaborated, I don't think collaborated is ever a very good word to use. I know people say, how do you work well with others? And you say collaborated, but if I go into the work office and I say, hey, Bob, and Bob says, hey, Lee, and then that's it. That's collaborated. We worked together on a project. I want to know how you did it, right? So not collaborated on a research project. Just say worked with 4 or 5, whatever the amount is, 4 other engineers, where we met nightly to discuss issues on our Python, C++, whatever thing, where we would give that insight to a development team. That shows that you can work with them. It says, this is sort of telling me I need you to show me. You can't tell me you've done something. You have to show me you've done something. And I do understand that is incredibly frustrating, but unfortunately is the case. The other one is, this is entirely filled with a lot of other stuff. Like Orb Slam and Slam Library or 64-bit ARM SOC. And while it is possible, entirely possible, I've missed some qualifications, I cannot believe that all of these would be considered qualifications for the role you're going for. Yeah, so again, this is an okay start, but I need the rest. And I'm not finding RTOS. I'm going to guess that ROS is the same, but if I had to do that in a real role, unless I talked to the manager beforehand, I would have had to reject your resume. I almost missed Linux, which is something I was looking for because this was filled to the brim with too much tech stuff. I don't see MS Office suites. I know. And I don't, like I said, I also don't see how you can take direction and criticism or work well with others. Well, you kind of have other internships, and that's okay. In addition, timeline on this is a little off. Why is this under this? I don't understand that. The timeline should be switched. This should be here. And if it only has C++ and Python and that's it, and you don't have C++ or Python anywhere else, then I do understand why you included it. But otherwise, this has nothing I'm looking for. And in addition, I'm not necessarily looking for Python, C, and C++. I'm looking for one of them. So when I have it like this in the little dashes, it's either or. So yeah, it's good to show all of them, but there's not really much here. And again, I'm not seeing RTOS. Education should be one line, and you don't need this. And yeah, so I'm going to work with this person who is in my chat a little bit deeper. And for everybody else, there's the next resume. This is a resume of... No, not Java plus Python. Java or Python backend. You pick one or the other for each resume, because these are the qualifications for Python, these are the qualifications for Java. Yes, SQL is the same, RESTful APIs is the same, and cloud, along with like architecting, is the same, but and agile, but everything else is different. So this is why you cannot have this. This person is an international student on an F1 visa aiming for a full-time role. So basically what I said in the very first part of this video is you got to make sure they know how they can work with your visa. Because I don't know if I ever hired somebody on an F1, because I might have once. Like I did H1Bs and OPTs. But I didn't even know if we could work with an F1 or not. Again, it's been a couple of years, so my memory is foggy. But you have to tell us how we can work with your visa, because they will not know. So besides the visa stuff, because again, I don't know enough about that to help, and I'm not a lawyer, what we're looking for is either this in the very top or this in the very bottom. Typically not both. I'm not saying roles can't have you do Java and Python, but rarely will you find a role that will have you do both at the same time, unless you're transitioning to a different system, or hiring for it at least. So pick one of those. All right, let's see if I can find either of those in 20 seconds. So away. Spring Boot, good. API, okay. Spring Boot, SQL, Docker, CI/CD, cool. There's nothing. Where's your primary language? I didn't see any of those. Architected a scalable Flask. I don't care about that. Architect is good, but a Flask not so much. And SQL, cool. Yeah, that doesn't work. No. This is why you have 150 plus. This is specifically why. Is I need to see Java. I need to see Python. And those are separate resumes. I did not see those. I could not move you forward. I cannot move you forward if I don't see that. I didn't get to here, but again, this is your internships. So yeah, there's no way I would be able to move you forward. So this needs to pick a stack. I don't care about workflows and efficiency. Look at the job. Like, seriously, look at the qualifications. Everybody is trying to, like, overcomplicate them. We're not looking for 500 plus staff boosting efficiency. That's not the job. We're looking for Python, Docker, Kubernetes, and Django, or Java, Spring, and Spring Boot, which I did not see Java or Python. I did see Docker and Spring Boot. Or WebSocket or Redis. I actually don't think I've really seen a lot with Redis either. Or delivery speed. Like, this is just not what we're looking for. Like, it doesn't matter how impressive this is. Like, again, you could solve world hunger, but if you don't show me you've used AWS in an agile environment, I can't move you forward. Please do solve world hunger, by the way. I hope you do. I can get you a job, and then somehow through that job you solve world hunger, but I couldn't hire you based on it. Also, my dog is barking, so if you hear a woof, that's him. But yeah, there's nothing here until you get to the projects, which is, again, then you have TypeScript. I don't care about TypeScript or CSS unless I'm looking for full stack. And again, it's okay to have a little bit of full stack, but it shouldn't be right in your first sentence if you're going for a back-end Python. So again, the problem with this resume is it's not focused. Anytime your resume is not focused on a particular job title or niche of job title, not just in software engineering. I know they've all been software engineers this episode. I know we normally have a lot, but there was a lot for this episode. But even in any other thing, it needs to be specialized. You need to tailor your resume to the job title you want, not the job itself. Because it doesn't matter if they say software engineer, they're hiring based on one of these stacks. So I couldn't move you forward with this. Again, the formatting's okay. You shouldn't bold it, but, you know, again, no bolding, but the rest of the formatting is okay. Again, it could do a little bit better, but it's not bad. It's just, there's nothing here. I can't move you forward because I don't have these. These are your guiding light. And you can find your own. My guide states how. It's very easy. It's also free on my website. So I need you to all know, and I'm like, right now, if it's not here, if it's not in a qualification, I don't care. If you look at 15 to 20 jobs of a job title you want, and in those you do not see a single skill in that qualification, that skill is not relevant. There are niche jobs, yes, obviously are, but I can't tell you how to get the hidden job Bob has that he only opens every Thursday at 2 p.m. I can tell you how to increase your interview ratio so that you can get a better job. So be focused on your resume. It's okay to have 2 to 3 resumes. You don't have to keep remaking them. You remake it once, one for Java, one for Python, one for full stack, one for front end. Boom, you send those out like bop, 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 and you get a position. So that's it for this video. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out. The algorithm is a fickle, fickle beast. And if you need more help, you can join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. PST. Although I'm starting to stream later, so from 11 a.m. PST till whenever. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at twitch./ whatever it is. It's in the link below. I never remember the darn name. Yeah, whatever. I'll see you all in the next video. I'll figure out how to end a video one day.